Welcome everybody to I'll Be Right Back, the show where we take a look at a horror movie, and we have a new Smile movie out in the cinema, Peter, Smile 2, so we thought we'd go back and take a look at the original.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the original. I think you weren't as keen as me first time around, but I thought this was pretty damn good.
I really love the original Smile movie. I think it's terrifying. The imagery of it is horrific, it's spine tingling, but I just feel like the ending really lets it down for me. I think it kind of ruins the kind of mystique. Overall, I think it's fantastic, really impressive film.
I don't remember you liking it, to be perfectly honest. I think you're talking shit.
Right.
Okay. I think you're trying to play on the fact that I'm a little bit older and trying to say that I've got dementia or something. But I'm pretty sure at the time it wasn't just the creature design. You said that you didn't like the kind of the subplot about grief and things like that. And you are wrong. You are completely
That's
wrong.
true. Okay, fair.
As usual, Keegan, you talk shite. But I think the people come to listen to my opinions and my opinions alone, and you're here for, just shits and giggles.
Okay, well, we'll get into it anyway, but a little bit of background about the...
We're starting off strong.
Yeah. It's written and directed by Parker Finn, who signed a deal with Paramount Pictures to develop a feature film based on his award-winning short film, Laura Hasn't Slept. So it's effectively the interview scene at the start of the movie. It's kind of that, just goes a different direction at the end. But the smile creature is present in that. Finn recruited Amalgamated Dynamics to handle the film's practical effects, citing their work on the Alien franchise as inspiring him to become a filmmaker. So a lot of this movie, I was actually shocked how much of this is practical. There's very little CGI in the movie at all, particularly in a sequence at the end that I was very surprised. I thought it looked like dodgy CGI, but it's not. It's just an impressive practical creature. The film was originally intended for a release on Paramount Plus before scoring higher than expected with test audiences, leading to a widely successful theatrical release. I find the movie quite impressive. I think the direction of it, for someone who jumped from a short film to their first feature film, there's some amazing camera work in this. The camera starts upside down and twists around, or I think a lot of the pans and zooms in and out are really just put you in the film really well. And the imagery, there's a lot of the time you'll see smile imagery around, it could be someone's earrings or the way the light is coming through the window, that's present throughout the whole movie. And I love those kind of little Easter egg things that make a second viewing worthwhile,
Absolutely. And I think the music in this, the use of sound is phenomenal. I absolutely love the score in the movie. Yeah. That sounds wrong. People think they've dialed into a porno.
The creature, the first shot of it, I think just from the get-go, you have in the opening scene, which is just a plant you in the movie so well. The camera cuts to the girl smiling, and there's no music cue, no jump scare thing. It's just silence, and it's just horrific. We talked about particularly scary shots in this. I think we said before, my favorite one, or I think the most scary one, is in The Strangers, the bit where Liv Tyler's in the kitchen and the sackhead guy walks behind her. That I think has been the scariest shot in any movie we've talked about up until this movie. I think the bit where she's in the kitchen and the camera pans around and it's the girl that killed herself earlier, just in the darkness, and it kind of goes back to the girl and back to her, and the smiles just coming through the darkness. It is. I know that as I'm editing this, I'm just I'm gonna be. I watched that scene 4 or 5 times.
Behind you, James. It's behind you.
Oh, it's horrendous. Just amazingly haunting, I think.
No, I think the imagery in this is phenomenal. I think sometimes we get a bit critical of jump scares because they do feel peppered throughout films and stuff. This is a one that does have some jump scares, but it's the non-jump scares that are the most scary. Just the building tension, I think, which unnerves me most.
I love how the creature, the mind fuckery that goes on with the thing, where it's causing kind of hallucinations and messing up her day, the killing the cat.
Oh, the cat in the box. I mean, that's friggin' horrific.
It feeds on trauma, and that's the theme of the movie. I remember the first time thinking, oh, this is trying to be too deep. It doesn't need to go this deep. I think upon this watch, I appreciate the subplot a bit more.
So it's interesting you saying that, James, because we mentioned at the start that you think I've misremembered. I remember you talking about that, and I remember at the time, probably because our different backgrounds and different life experiences, perhaps, I thought the trauma element was really good because it rang true to some of the stuff that I'd seen in my life in terms of trauma and how people deal with things, and that for me was a real poignant part of this film. I think if you're a person who has experienced or witnessed suicide in some form, you maybe take something different away from this film because it really is hard hitting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the film does address the kind of stigma around mental illness. You have the dickhead brother-in-law.
Arsehole. Can I just say, other than the cop ex-boyfriend, I fucking hate everybody in this film. Everyone's just horrible. Our sister, she needs push in front of a bus. She's just a wag stuck-up bitch. Even our boyfriend's if you interfere with his picture-perfect pretty little life, he seems to he kind of cool.
I agree. I really didn't like him at all. Yeah, she needs someone more supportive than that in her life, I think. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that a lot of the humor of the film is sort of derived from that element as well. The film is peppered with little kind of comedic beats, and it's often coming from these kind of zany side characters. I love a good curse movie. It's actually kind of of unfortunate because this film is very similar to It Follows, which is one of my favorite horror movies, and we haven't watched it. I'm almost sort of like, I wish we watched that before doing this one. But the idea of this thing that only one person can see and they're telling people and they don't believe them and stuff, that's all kind of very, very similar. I love like the freak out in the prison where she goes to visit the guy and he realizes that she has it and he's like, get away from me, what are you doing here? Like, you know, I think it's
pure terror, isn't it? Pure terror.
The impact that this thing has on people, I think, is really fascinating.
Yeah, me too. I love that part. And I think it's very well played, that particular scene. The big issue I've got with the film is the reveal at the end of the kind of the creature monster type thing. I almost wish you didn't see that. It feels a bit out of kilter with the rest of it.
That was my originally watching it, my biggest problem. But I feel like on a rewatch, I think it is interesting when you see that opening sequence where you're like, oh, I know what's happening now. Do you know what I mean? I know what that character's actually going through. So I think that adds an interesting element. But yeah, I think as soon as like there's a bit where the therapist woman like turns out to be the creature and starts talking, and I just feel like you've just ruined this now. It is the simplicity of the creepy smile. Like the creature doesn't have to do anything. When it starts talking, starts communicating, when you realize it's a character, I feel like that really strips the fear from it.
I hear what you're saying, but I like the fact that the creature is enjoying it. It's having fun, and I think that adds an interesting element, that this is an entity that's getting its shits and giggles from torturing people, makes it feel even worse.
The whole thing about the trauma is like it has to make the deaths as horrific as possible, which I think is a fun excuse, I think, to have them be so like over the top gross, you know. Another scary bit I didn't mention that I really love, it's so unfortunate it's in the trailer, but I think it's such a great jump scare, is when the sister's walking towards the car and she gets to the car window and then the head starts dangling off. That was a great one, you know. So the lead character Rose, played by Sosie Bacon, this is Kevin Bacon's daughter.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
I believed her, and the physical performance is really impressive. The shakes, the descent into kind of doubting our own mind and things like that, I think is amazing.
And I like how like it just as the film progresses, she just starts looking crazier and crazier. You know, it's a good one. Joe, played by Kyle Garner. I love Kyle Garner. He's always been kind of like the skinny, nerdy guy, but I think he plays this kind of like cop thing really well.
Yeah, he's good. He's good performance.
Trevor, played by Jesse T. Usher.
He's a cockney. You know, even before, yeah, fair enough at the end when she's descending into like proper craziness, but even before that, he just comes across as like a, don't interfere with my picture perfect life.
You broke another glass?
Yeah, if you do anything out of place, do you know what I mean? I just didn't warm to him at all.
I've never really been a fan of like fake out endings where like you think they've gotten away and then it turns out, oh no, this has all been a hallucination.
You're not a fan of Twilight, James? You're not a fan of, you strike us as a Twilighter.
I stopped Twilight at Eclipse, so I've not seen the last two, so I don't know what they have fake out.
Big fake out in that. Big fake out in that. You have to spoil
Right.
it now for every Twilighter that's watching, I guess.
We have to do Twilight now, do we?
Jesus, no. I don't mind a fake out switch if it's done well and it surprises us. If I can see it coming, you know, a mile away, then I'm not into it. But if it surprises us, then yeah, I'm happy.
So, a little bit of trivia about the film. The movie was originally titled Something's Wrong with Rose before being renamed Smile. Smile is just such a perfect, simple, to the point, you know, that's a franchise name, isn't it? Smile.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Kyle Gallner previously played Bart Allen, Impulse the Flash, on the CW television series Smallville. Jesse T. Usher currently plays A-Train, a spoof of the Flash, on the Amazon Prime television series The Boys. Coincidence? Probably.
Yeah, I didn't recognize him from Smallville, to be honest.
As Rose looks at her text thread with Trevor, his ID picture at the top shows him smiling, while an earlier glance at the thread has a non-smiling pic. So yeah, again, those little Easter egg things, I love that.
Didn't notice that. I'll have to go back and watch that now. I like that. Didn't notice that.
Really clever. I love shit like that. I love on horror movies. It just feels like they really thought about it. You know what I mean? And lastly, a couple days before the September 30th, 2022 release, actors from the film showed up at various baseball games, sitting behind home plate dead still and smiling while staring into the camera, unmoving despite fans in the audience being understandably concerned, while wearing Smile t-shirts. Another soon appeared in the background with the crowd during the Today Show. Whoever came up with that idea for the marketing,
give that person a bonus. Give them a bonus.
I love that, and it makes me excited whenever these movies come around that marketing is going to kick back into gear again. So the future of this franchise, Smile 2, which is out in the cinemas right now, which both of us have seen, and we have a review on the channel. It's pretty good, isn't it?
I loved it. I absolutely, well, we'll leave that for the video. Go check it out.
I just like how you can do like a curse film. You can just like change the main character. You can do whatever you want with it. I like the idea of like different settings for it. So like in Smile 2, it's a pop star. That's really an interesting take on it. I like the fact that you can have different themes. So this one deals with kind of like trauma. That film, I think, deals with like fame and kind of the pressures of that. So I think, you know, you can have a really interesting character study with the Smile creature as the kind of the background element of it.
You can take it anywhere you want, really, can't you? As they do in the end of Smile 2, you know? It's got all kinds of potential, I think.
The next one could be wild. Absolutely insane if they go down a certain route with it. And then we also had a comic book series which was just recently announced. That'd be interesting. I wonder where you go with that one. I think probably just like someone earlier in the chain.
I think you could just make that an anthology series, couldn't you? Each issue would be a different kind of death, I suppose. Start with the death, end with the death.
Do like a World War II one, do a cowboy one, do a samurai one. It'd be cool. Who knows how long this creature's been around?
Yeah, we don't know how long it's been going, you know what I mean? You could do anything with this franchise, really. Smile in space.
Oh, I like that idea. What would you do if the smile creature was coming after you?
I don't smile a lot, so I don't think I would be worried. I think I would be all right.
People don't tend to smile at you, so you'll spot it pretty quick.
Vomit tends to be the usual response, or repulsion. You know what I mean? You'd have to rename the franchise Bilious, something like that.
Bilious.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on Smile?
Overall, this film made me smile. I thought this was a great movie. I enjoyed it the first time round. I enjoyed it more the second time round when I rewatched it. It's got some stellar performances, some great kills, and a very interesting kind of concept.
Yeah, for me, I think, I appreciate a lot more of it than I did the first time around. I think it is a great story. It's just a phenomenal creature idea. And one of the scariest films I've seen. I tend to watch these on my phone. Just shivered for half of the film.
You've irritated us there. You've irritated us.
What? What the fuck?
What do you mean you watch these movies on the phone?
I crawl into bed. I get cozy.
How can you get proper quality viewing on a friggin', what are you using, Nokia 10 or something? How do you...
Excuse me, I got a Sony Xperia. Thank you very much. I got 4K, baby.
God. For a man of my age, it's the immersive. I need the biggest screen possible and the best sound possible.
That's because you can't see or hear.
Covering bloody sugar puffs or something like that. Watching it on your shitty phone.
I don't eat in bed. Thank you very much. I don't like crumbs. Is it better than Willy's Wonderland?
Yes, it is. I have to say it. This is my kind of horror. But can you imagine Nicolas Cage coming to see you smiling naked? Obviously, I would just welcome him in. Do you know what I mean? I'd just have him in the house. Well, come and take a seat.
Crawl in my mouth, Nick.
Oof, take me, you dirty Nick. Yeah.
And that's I'll Be Right Back on Smile. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, leave a like. We review all the latest horror movies in the cinema, and we have episodes of I'll Be Right Back on various movies, so go check that out. Don't forget to check out One Good Scare live every second Friday, and we'll be right back next time with...
Salt! I'm in the closet! A bitch of a werewolf movie. Waiting! Dog soldiers. It'll blow your house down.
Never, under any circumstances, say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back.